there has been so much negativity fostered upon this squad because of the Champions League results. Okay, they're 7 points behind, but before that, if you're taking away the Champions League results before Sunday, you would say, right, okay, they were still trailing Celtic, but they were. It wasn't a total disaster in terms of the position they were in. Still some 3-0 from games, you could see them turning it around. But obviously, the sheer negativity, the doom, the gloom, the despair that's been heaped upon the squad because of the way they've been dismantled in Europe, it's just dragged confidence levels down and down and down. And it's been looking for a few weeks that, especially because the heavy workload, the guys are having to play week in, week out because of injuries. This team just badly needs a rest. It's amazing to say that you're 2-3 months into a season, but this team just looks shot. So I mean, perhaps in that sense, then the World Cup break, could be a really good thing for this team. Just allow them to go away, switch off, refresh, come back. Get, as Scott says, get a few of the guys that have been injured. Perhaps one or two of them might come back and give them a wee lift. But again, this all comes back to: do the board still believe that Giovanni van Bronckhorst is the guy to turn this around, or do they need to make a change? Signs so far is that they're willing to stick by him, but I think the fans are already unhappy enough with this board. Obviously, you're going to see them getting a pretty hard time, I'd imagine, at AGM. Perhaps I think that might come to a point where they'll realise the strength of feeling that it's against them at the minute. So, it's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out in the next few weeks. But I tend to agree with Scott. I think a change is coming.
Yeah. I don't think you can underestimate, Gav, the Champions League beatings and what they've done to this team, what they've done to this squad. I know it's easy for people to say, well, I mean, weren't expected to do it. It's against the big guns. But this was a team that got to a European final last season, and all of a sudden they're getting scudded all over the place. 4-7-3 at home. I mean, I just think certain players in that squad, because of the beatings, would have just been, it drains confidence. You start to ask yourself, am I good enough? And what's happening? Why can we not do what we did last season? I think there are things around that haven't helped, and I don't think the manager's helped himself. We go back to the post-Ajax interview after the first game saying, no, we can't compete. I think it was the wrong thing to say. I think it sent out the wrong message. So he hasn't helped himself in that regard. And there are obviously other factors, but I think I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. I mean, whenever Rangers have looked as if they might get a wee bit of momentum domestically, the way the Champions League's been this year, with the games coming thick and fast, they've just, they 2 4-0s against St Mirren and Hearts, where you think, right, this is them. You win 4-0 at Tynecastle. I think the next game is Liverpool and they lose 7. And it's just like absolute hammer blow to confidence.
Yeah.
When you throw in the injuries on top of that, and I actually don't think enough has been made of the amount of injuries that they've had to key players. When you put all that together, you do start to feel sorry a wee bit for Van Bronckhorst. And I say at times he's not helped himself. I think the players have helped him at certain times with performances. I go back to some of the decisions he's making about no on his midfield. I think at Perth on at the weekend, he made some poor decisions with subs and stuff like that. So he hasn't helped himself at times. But the mitigating factors in those Champions League beatings, as well as all the injuries, I think had a huge impact. You look at Celtic in comparison. Celtic didn't win a game in the Champions League, but they didn't feel the way Rangers have felt. At no point did they take a hammer and were they kind of beaten up by one of these big guns.
Maybe Real Madrid they were.
Maybe Real Madrid in the last game.
Yeah.
But even the Real Madrid home game, they're well in the game for an hour.
Yeah.
Shakhtar and Leipzig, they were always in games. They never quite took that absolute beating that would knock confidence out of you. Rangers had to take that pretty much in every game, and I think that's the massive bearing on them.